Hey, Sean.
Good morning.
We'll get started in just a minute. We're just waiting on one person to get back in here.
Okay.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Wayfinding and Branding Committee to order at 11:02 a.m. We do have a full quorum. First things first, we need to adopt the agenda. Does anyone have any changes? Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? I'll give it to Christine on that one. All's in favor?
My buzzer didn't work as quick as
Unanimous. Okay. Okay, adoption of the previous minutes. Everyone had a chance to review those. Does anyone have any changes? Can I get a motion to adopt the minutes from December 7th as presented? Bob? All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, guys. We don't have any unfinished business, so on to, first of all, is the 2023 committee meeting schedule. I've sent this out to you before, just so you guys can have some tentative dates. On the schedule, we have Monday, February 6th, 11 a.m., and I have Monday, March 6th. Now, Derek said he was going to be out of town for the March 6th date, correct?
Yes.
Is there another date that would work for you all? Would the following week work, March 13th? Would that be okay with you, Sean, if we move the Monday, March 6th to March 13th?
Let me double check here real quick. March. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Yeah, 11 o'clock. And Sean, do you think, should we schedule an April meeting with them, or do you think we're on schedule to be done with the committee by March?
Well, we've got, I think we might need one tentatively right now because we still have to get through the wayfinding portion of this. And, we've got the preliminary sign schedule laid out, but we haven't gone through designs, and some of that might be dependent on DOT. So I think we might need to discuss, if the committee's going to need involvement beyond approval of sign design and the locations, so that, or if that's just going to move over to like you, Austin, or Jill, whoever's going to manage moving forward with, coordinating with DOT and sign vendors and all of that as you move towards implementation.
That'll be all me.
Okay.
So yes, so, okay, so let's go ahead and schedule an April meeting then. Let's look at Monday, April 3rd. What do you guys think? Sorry. Would that work for you, Sean, the 3rd, or would you rather push that out a little bit?
Let's push it a little further. I've got some stuff, two things the week prior. So I just, if I need to, depending on what prep work we're going to be doing, I'd like a little more cushion.
Okay.
That's spring break.
Okay. What works for you guys?
Yeah, and the 10th and the 17th stink. I could do the 24th,
Yeah,
but the 10th and the 17th are not good.
yeah.
Okay.
So either the 3rd or the 24th.
What say you, Sean?
The 24th works great for me.
Okay. So is everybody good with April 24th? Okay. So we'll plan for April 24th at 11 a.m. All right. So with that, does anybody else have any requested changes to the meeting schedule? Oh, no, maybe I said the wrong date. Yeah. Okay. February 6th. Okay. So if there are no other recommended changes, can I get a motion to adopt the schedule as amended? Christina? All's in favor? Unanimous. Okay. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Sean. I think you guys are gonna be very pleased with what he has to show. I got a sneak preview on Friday. It's all yours, Sean.
Great. Well, I am going to try to get everything organized beforehand, but looking at dates and all and email, let me clear out some of this so I can share my screen here. All right, can you all see the first page?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought I lost your audio there for a second. All right, so I'm just going to do a walkthrough of the brand style guide. Feel free to ask any questions as we walk through this, or we can wait until the end and I can bounce back and back and forth. There are a couple things here as we go through that are going to be new even to Austin based on our conversation on Friday. And there are also a couple still loose ends that will be tied or will be wrapped up hopefully by Thursday. But I'm hoping to use today to let you all see some of the additions and solicit some feedback from you as well, as far as any tweaks, modifications, or some other additions that might not be on my to-do list. But we've whittled that to-do list down to a very small list at this point, and like 2 or 3 things that I can think of based on the email and my notes. And so, we should be really good moving forward here. So I'm just gonna, this is, let's start at the first page actually. So this will be your PDF, and when I'm done, I'm going to show you the folder structure as well as how everything is organized, and that you will use as you work through implementation, and how easy it is to access all of the files you're going to see here. So the style guide just is basically the set of rules that explains how your brand works. And this PDF is interactive, so you can click on any of the chapters here and jump right to them if you like in the PDF, or you'll be able to see those folders here shortly. And there's kind of broken down in this hierarchy as well on Dropbox. So in discussing the brand, we like to lay out the brand narrative that we established for the community. And this was that sort of elevator pitch that we put together for the village of Marvin.
Hey, Sean,
That
can you
leads
zoom
us,
in a
yes,
little bit?
yes. And as I'm, whoops, hopefully, yeah.
It's the settings. Show us it's all yes about.
Do I need to send a link to this?
No, it's
Why don't we just listen and see what he says?
I don't guess we have to read it.
I'd like to read it.
It's his setting. It's
Okay. Sean, you're good to continue.
Okay.
This is the brand statement y'all seen long. This is not-
So let me ask the question. Have any changes to the brand statement been made post the last meeting? Okay.
No.
So this is the brand statement as
It's
approved?
just a full package.
Okay.
just the way it's going to look.
Okay.
Yep. And so this is just in the style guide. So you all can copy and paste this if you feel the need, you want to put some narrative on the website or use it in some promotional pieces. That'll be easy enough to do from here. And then just talking about the tagline and showing some of the inspiration that was, used for the tagline, enriched by nature. And then how the basics of the logo break down, just a little bit of vocabulary here to help, inform people and show what the different components are of the logo itself, from the word type with the tagline to the icon to the full logo construct. And that being said, this is sort of the primary variation of the logo as we see it with the tagline there. But there are numerous variations on that design, giving you some options in how you want to utilize it when you begin to implement it, from whether you're doing letterhead, something, or you're moving into wanting to get some t-shirts or other things made. As you use this, you're going to have different needs for different orientations of the information and how it lays out. So I wanted to provide some options for you so that you don't have to worry about cutting and pasting and reconfiguring. So whether you need something that's kind of squarish or you want something that's a little wider, depending on your layout needs in the future, I kind of wanted to try to future proof and hopefully predict some of those needs and provide some variations in here. And the text, as you'll see later, also is in here by itself as well. So if you just want to use the word type for the Village of Marvin, that's easily accessible as well. And this is just the 4 color variations to show the different configurations of the logo, but these are all output in the single color variation as well. And showing some of the different recommended sizes for, whether you're using your primary or whether you're using a simplified version, a smaller version, or even the icon. A lot of people use the icon in the header for the website, different things like that. So just wanted to show how those can be broken apart or used in different configurations for sizing needs. And then some spacing as well. This is just best practices whenever you start to think about how you're going to lay out the logo in a newsletter or on other materials. Want to make sure we're providing enough clear space and we're not cramming it with other design elements or types, so that it has kind of room to breathe in the design. The color specifications here, and there is a footnote here that we are phasing out the Pantone recommendations in our style guides because Pantone has discontinued their license with Adobe and is now charging a subscription fee, not just to vendors like us, but to any users of their apps that want to utilize the Pantone system. So if you do come across a need for the Pantone color, then your print vendor, because that's usually who it's going to be, is if you're getting banners or something large format done. Sometimes screen printers might request it, but with the CMYK builds, they should be able to provide you a very close recommendation for Pantone, and you can always request a printed proof before you go to print to make sure that the colors match up with what you're expecting. And then laying out the typography and just saying that, type isn't something that should just be legible and readable. It should be beautiful, and using this nice bold Quincy that we selected for the Village of Marvin has a little bit of character to it, but still has that formality to it that we were looking for, and showing here in a couple of the various weights of the typeface. It goes from extra bold to light italic, and there's a whole range in between there that you'll be provided. Your secondary typeface. Austin, what did we decide this was? Acarus?
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
Okay, and again, this one has numerous weights in the typeface as well, giving you a lot of options. And as you see, a lot of the extensions that were built out for the system, how these can be used interchangeably. We call Quincy your primary typeface because that's the one that's used as your primary typeface in your primary logo. But whenever you're building out extensions and you have new events, new activities happening, that you want to create new logos for, we can switch these around so we're still staying within the system, but we're able to create variety within the system while maintaining that consistency. And including your accent typeface here of the Shelby, giving a little bit of that handwritten feel, just a little bit of warmth and welcoming to the overall brand, and showing how the Village of Marvin would be set from headline typefaces or weights and sizes all the way down into captions, just as an example of what those look like at different sizes. And then we get into the fun part, and Austin and I had a lot of discussion through this, and so there's a lot of revisions made, and there's
Hey,
someone
Sean.
here. Yes,
It just shrank a lot.
just shrank.
Yeah, yeah, it shrank a lot. I think some of the board members have a couple questions or want to take a moment.
Okay.
Um,
My screen didn't change, so I'm not sure what
it,
happened.
it, it zoomed back. You're good. You're zoomed back. You're
Okay.
good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got a question on the village logo with the tree. Just a quick question on the logo with the tree
Mhm.
and the blue background. Will one be available without the blue background?
I can do that without the blue back. You're asking for like multicolor without the blue background?
Just a white background in case printing costs matter. I mean,
Well,
that
yeah,
seems like
I
it'd be a
can.
very simple thing to do.
And so there's two different ways I can do that. I can do the scroll back here. I can do this logo without the blue background easily enough. And then there's also, as you see here, this is like the dark blue version of the logo, and the logo is provided in single color of the whole color palette. So you can go one color as well.
Okay,
So we have printing options.
okay. That's it. I just want to make sure.
Yep.
I got a question.
Hmm.
That one logo, I think it's for the park. Oh, reverse what you just did. It went small again.
I don't know it's not
Oh,
changing on my
okay.
end. I'm not sure what's happening.
Huh. The one that's got the park and the two trees with the, people walking between them, which, can you blow that up any more? Or do you have is that got, there? Yeah, okay. I was just wanting to see how it looked because we had we mentioned about different things with regards to that. I think it looks good. So it was small. I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, feel free to ask, to
Sure.
look at any of these in closer detail, because I know there was some feedback on a number of different things. And so I do want to make sure that my notes were thorough enough to cover everybody's input. So if there is something that I did neglect to cover, please don't hesitate to call me out.
Hey, Sean,
Yes,
we've got broccoli again. Can we do brown trunk?
we can.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to see any trees with a green trunk. They either need to be single
I
color
agree.
or a brown trunk. And not
Okay.
single color green because it looks like a stalk of broccoli.
Okay, can do.
Sean, can you go up to the top of that list? I mean, I don't feel like I've seen all of these.
You haven't, and that's
Okay,
what I
okay,
did.
so I'm just making sure that
Yeah, this is brand new stuff.
I'm gonna ask this in public, Bob. What do you think about the Marsh one? I mean, technically, we have a logo.
So they created this, so something you guys could use.
It just says Marsh underneath it. I mean, you know, with what Marsh means.
I like our.
Sean,
Yeah, that's
do you-
what I'm saying.
Sean, do you want to explain why you guys did a Marsh logo?
Well, it was a topic of conversation in one of the meetings, and it was brought up as a potential. And so what I did was I took what Marsh has been using and simply brought it into the system to show what it could look like. With the
Yeah.
understanding it is a bit of a partnership, and so it was just more of an exercise to demonstrate what it could look like if Marsh wanted to have a logo that was tied a little bit more tightly into the overall system, but still maintained its independence.
Yeah, you guys don't have to use this. It's something that we had made for you.
Right, no, and that makes sense. And it is an interesting marriage between the two. So I get it. I just hadn't seen it before and didn't know what that was about. Could
And
you,
I actually like the owl when I mentioned it. Kind of has a hawk look to it too.
well, and both of those are native, so that's okay. And he has a heart on his chest. That's very sweet. We're talking about the owl / hawk thing.
Well, this was an interesting exercise for myself as well. And Austin and I had a pretty good discussion about this. That, part of our challenge was looking at what was being used for Marvin or Marv the Owl. And you all had your pre-existing Marv icon that was used and the colors were changed out. And I was looking at that and I was wondering if there's a way we could do it with a little bit more personality, bring a little bit more whimsy to him as a mascot. And I mean, the unfortunate thing is I am not an illustrator. I cannot draw cartoons. I cannot draw mascots, animals, creatures, people. Like that's just not my strength as a designer. So I was looking for some artwork where I could find an owl that wasn't like too comical, but had some personality and had some different poses to him, so that in different functions he had a little, he brought a little bit something new to the design. And as you see here, these three different poses that kind of evoke three different things to me, with the Marvin Wise, the newsletter with him straight on. He looks a little bit more formal and, it's like he's delivering information in the newsletter. And then with Marvin Day, he's a little bit more cheerful and he's kind of flapping his wings. And then with the community cleanup, he's giving that thumbs up. He's kind of like, just showing that community pride and so it was kind of interesting how these different poses worked really well in my mind of these different initiatives that you all are currently doing, and showing a little bit more personality. And so that was my thinking behind it. And so I was definitely interested to hear how he was going to be received by you all.
Sean, can you zoom in there? They're pretty small on our screen. It's like whenever you're going over one specific logo, just zoom in. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we do this in some sort of semblance of an order? Let's start at the top left and let's go each one, talk about it instead of jumping all around. Otherwise, we're going to be here for hours. Okay. What do you guys
Okay.
think about the top left, Marvin Eford Park? Do you guys like that? Any issues with it? Derek? Bob? You guys like it?
It's fine the way he's doing it. I mean, just input, whatever chunks of gold he's throwing
I
at
just want to make
it.
sure I see them.
Yeah. Just want to go make sure we see everything.
Okay.
Make sure that we see them all because they're really small and I'll get up there and in front of the
And
television if I.
some of these are not currently used. Like there's one for a farmer's market. Some are conceptual for future stuff.
Okay. So we all like the top left. Okay. Farmer's market. Do we like this? Okay. Marsh, if we want to use it, we can use it. But we'll have it if we need it. Okay. Trick or treat. Love it. Super cute. Okay. Let's go down to the next row all the way to the left. VM. I mean, it's just You know, it's just a stamp.
It's the
Okay.
monogram, yeah.
Do we like the Marvin Day owl?
No.
Yeah, I don't either. He is cute, but I think he's like, he's good. He's going to be very hard, I think, to put
Print.
on material.
I think he's a little Disney-ish person.
Bird.
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, I do, but I don't like it for Marvin Day. I actually like the Marvin Wise newsletter one, but for Marvin Day, he's too, it looks like a baby bird. He's too caricature-y. We got to work on that one.
Okay.
I like the Marvin Wise newsletter one. He's cute.
I
The
would,
Marvin Wise newsletter.
I would make sure if you're doing an owl design, you're keeping the design consistent.
I agree. Whatever
Okay.
we decide, it needs to be the same for all of them.
Okay, so okay. Okay. So we
I'm
don't like
glad you
those two.
asked.
If we want to stick with the same owl across the board, then we got to work on the owl.
With what we're currently using, the pre-existing one, do you think that's closer to what we want, or do you want to go for something a little more realistic?
Oh, see, I mean, I like ours. I do too. I like that one. You don't like it?
Which one?
The left.
Currently using is what she is saying. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm getting at.
That's the
I think that
thing.
was-
It's clean. It's very clean.
Mhm.
Kind of like a. I noticed it. We were bringing people in here. I just wonder how we come up with an
The left guy?
To me, the left one looks more like an owl than the right one does.
Me
The
too.
right one, sure what kind of bird it is. It does look like a hawk owl. Sorry.
It's a chicken hawk. Oh, sorry.
Chicken hawk. Oh, stop.
Okay, so
Sorry.
do we? Okay.
Like the font underneath Marvin Day and all that. I thought that looks good.
I like that.
It's an improvement over what we had before. So I like that.
Yeah, the
Okay,
date's
let's go
not
back-
right, but what's
Go back to the other
yeah.
screen.
I just took the date from last year and dropped it in there for an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the font and everything and kind of the setup is good, but let's work on the actual owl. Okay, let's go down to the next row, all the way to the left. Okay, that's National Night Out.
And if you-
It's small.
Very little.
Is that their logo?
It's changed up with our.
It's an adaptation of what they do, and they've actually changed their branding. So now it's just NNO. There's no real iconography to it, and
It looks a little scary, and I'm pretty sure that the police are trying not to look scary. I'm pretty sure.
But they're gonna make it
Yeah.
more police official.
Yeah, I know. And that's a hard line to, to straddle, quite frankly. But I think that the point of National Night Out is to get to know your local law enforcement in a.
They have their own logo that they ask you to use.
Maybe if the
So maybe-
wings weren't out and they were in. or
Okay,
something.
so what Derek just said was
They
they
have
have their
their
own logo
Mhm.
that they prefer us to use. So if we could maybe,
Yeah, this is based on one of their logos. It was actually an eagle that they had in the middle of it, and I replaced its head with an owl.
okay, yeah, let's
They do.
change
But we
that
can
one to
definitely-
there. Yep,
Okay.
okay, let's go to the right. I love that. I think that's super cute. Everybody good with that one?
Yes.
Derek?
That's one of
Okay.
the best ones.
All right, keep going, Sean, to the right.
And Austin had mentioned that this one may be on its way out and doing something else with like breakfast with Santa. And so this is one of the ones on my list to revisit and look at doing again. The thing I do like about this concept is the snow globe has a similar structure to the primary logo, which I thought was kind of cool, turning the logo into a snow globe. But I've got to figure out a different way to approach the breakfast with Santa concept.
Sean, I would leave that because I actually think that's super cute with the snow globe and then just do a separate one for the breakfast. So just in case we have it again, we revisit it later, but then we have one for the breakfast.
Okay.
Okay, to the right.
And I don't know if anybody is going to ask before I explain, but I did try to put Christmas trees on the Village of Marvin icon tree, and it just didn't work for me. But it was where I started
You
with
could keep
seeing if
that,
I
and
could
then you
make
just change Christmas to holiday if absolutely needed, I would think.
I think we just drop Christmas altogether.
Yeah.
We just do a tree lighting, so.
Yeah, Sean, let's just drop Christmas because, Christmas, government entity, it's too. So just drop the Christmas and let's just do tree lighting.
And
Okay.
can tree lighting be in the scripty font?
Sure.
I think that
Absolutely.
would
Tree
be
lighting
the
in
Village of
the-
Marvin underneath it.
Scripty font.
Yeah.
Can do.
Just
Making some
get
notes
rid of
here.
Christmas. Just do
Okay.
tree lighting. We've never called it a holiday tree lighting. It's always been the tree lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've ever said a holiday tree lighting. It's just been the tree lighting.
And if you do the tree lighting, in that scripty thing there, that gives it some more attention. I think it'll look nice. And Village of Marvin underneath that, you're good.
Yep.
Maybe make the tree a little bit bigger, possibly.
I love the tree.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
much neater looking than mine was.
Well, I'd like to disagree. We're doing a tree lighting to celebrate the holidays or Christmas or something. And I think, just my opinion, I think we're missing a stroke by not describing the tree lighting. And that's just me.
Yeah.
I think tree lighting is so secular. It's,
But we're a government entity.
I don't
It's
care.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
I can hear.
You have to, though.
So don't argue, though. I'll totally disagree with that. But if the group wants to drop any mention of why we are celebrating in December, I think it's just wrong. But that's me. So.
Well, let's look at it with holiday tree lighting and then let's look at it with just tree lighting in the scripty font. And then we'll make a decision.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Let's compromise. Okay, next line to the left.
Easy to do. All right, so I'm gonna jump
Hold
over
on.
here.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Derek wanted to say something.
I think we can look at it in both ways, but I think we've either got to talk to Christina or Chaplin and just make sure we cover our bases. Because it was always told to me, listen, we don't designate holidays or why we're doing this. I just think we just need to be careful.
Okay.
I love
I'll-
Bob's point, and personally I agree with it, but I have to be professional with
We'll check.
the wording on
Okay,
that. So,
we'll check with Christina and see what the jam is and then we'll
yeah,
let Sean know if he
before we
needs
make
to.
a final.
Yep.
I don't know if that goes to council or who, but
Council will approve
Well-
this in its final form, so.
there you go.
Okay, everybody good with the logo?
Yep.
Okay,
Good.
All right, so we got the seal over here, and then Austin had a really interesting suggestion last week of doing a multicolor version of the logo with fall colors and using that sort of that burgundy that's in the system with the golds and the browns. And I think it came out really good. So I think it was a really interesting suggestion and definitely worth including in the system for fall events or just fall social media or other promotions. I think this is a really strong addition to the system.
And I know you're going to tell me that the blue in the background there is the same as the green one, right? It looks like
I
a
am.
completely different color of blue.
It's just because of what's the color.
I know.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, but it looks more, it's perfect. Yeah, I like it. That's a great idea. Just as long as we don't do a winter version.
No.
It was like, unless it has an owl in the limbs.
oh my God. Okay, to the right.
So then here's the parks. We will be updating that as in my notes. The Council with Coffee you all have seen.
Yep.
Oh, wait, yeah, it's good. Keep going, keep going. You're good. Never mind.
The greenways you've seen, but then there's the friendship tree that's also the Village of Marvin and Marsh Partnership under
Like
there.
that.
I like that with all the little hearts on the tree. What you think, Bob?
Okay, all right, let's go down.
Very
I'm just curious, right quick, go back to the coffee with council, please. What is that in the cup? Is it? Yeah.
It's a speech bubble.
It's coffee,
Oh.
it's coffee, it's
You
coffee.
missed my mind, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Sean, can you get the logo on the friendship tree? Can you move it over so we can see okay. My question for you is from the primary way we promote this particular activity, we do banners and we do, social media, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Will the Village of Marvin and Marsh Partnership show up on, banners? I'm just wondering,
We'll also put our logo. We'll still put the Marsh logo on there
Do you-
somewhere on the banner.
Do you
Yeah.
want it to show up?
I want it bigger.
Okay, well then
Okay.
let's make it bigger then.
Yeah, because otherwise there's no reason to have it because it's so small. I think it would be hard to read. And the other is just from a balance perspective, Sean, and this is up to you. I'm just throwing this out. Does it make sense to have the Marsh logo as a counterbalance to the tree? And if you say no, I'm good either way.
I
I'm
honestly,
not a graphic designer, so.
yeah, if you're promoting this as an event or, this, what you're trying to accomplish with this, I would see it be more so in using, and I could definitely play around with actually stacking Friendship Tree and the tree icon so that they're a little bit bolder and square that you could put on a banner and then either on the banner or a print piece or on social media, if you're promoting it in a little like ad at the bottom, you could have the Village of Marvin logo and the Marsh logo so that then you could say it's a partnership between the two of them. So from the informational hierarchy, people see the friendship tree and then they can see it's a partnership. I would worry about confusion and too much clutter if we tried to put too much into one logo.
Fair
Um,
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I
I
agree with
definitely
that
see how
on,
they could work in conjunction.
yeah, I agree with that on a banner that especially is going to be a little bit larger. You're going to have your two sponsors, which
Right.
are the Village of Marvin, their logo,
Right.
Marsh, their
Marsh
logo.
logo.
And that'll be down in a small,
And not necessarily copy.
right. This is the logo for the thing called a friendship tree. No, I think this looks great though.
I love that. I do.
Awesome. I'm glad you like the hearts too. That was my addition to it.
That's
It's
great.
perfect, actually. Yeah, and I wouldn't have thought of that, so it's
Friendly
perfect.
and warm, and it's great.
Nice. And so you've seen the greenways. So that's it from this extension so far. Like I said, let me look over here real quick. There was also some volunteer days. The litter pickup, I tried to do one of those, and there was a work days at Marvin Eford Park that I need to look at doing something for. That was the two that Austin had mentioned to me on Friday
I
that we'd
almost
like.
think, Sean, I almost think you could make one logo that would cover work days. Yeah,
Mhm.
volunteer days, even better, volunteer days. And
Yep.
yeah, in the back of your mind, you could be thinking litter and weeding and planting and the things we do around the park, a cleanup, that kind of thing. But I don't know that you need a separate logo for both of those things. Now,
Perfect. Well, I don't mind you making my job easier.
I know you wouldn't. Yeah, and she's got a point too. Yeah, yeah. What'd
What
you
was
say,
that?
Jill?
I think it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Okay. That,
But I'm fine combining
Yeah.
like your volunteer days.
Because I would
with
like to get
whatever
the
you want to
attention-
do, I think that's fine.
I would like to get the attention of volunteers, and then we'll tell them what we're gonna do, kind of thing in
Yeah.
the text of it. But the idea that we would have a logo for, here's a volunteer opportunity.
Yeah.
That's a really, and we can put people to work doing all kinds of things.
Okay. And maybe as we're about to move into looking at the boards and departments, it might be some way that like there's a brand for the volunteer effort, and then there's the text that will change for, is it park cleanup? Is it community litter? Is it greenway sweeping? Or something like that, where you just go and clear limbs off, or whatever the effort might be. Then the text can change out with that logo, making the text fairly prominent. And so I think you can kind of see where I'm heading with that concept here. And I'll just zoom in on some of these so you can see they're fairly similar, very similar in construct, but just giving some identity and some consistency to the boards. So whether it's on a letterhead or a business card or a promotional piece, how do we lay out this text cleanly and consistently with these various boards and councils and departments, to where they all have something that they can use to move forward, but we don't necessarily have to create something wholly unique for every one of them. There's some consistency, and it's fairly standard across them. And this is a bit of a challenge because some of them, the Marvin Day Planning Subcommittee has a lot more to it than Village Council does, but trying to find a way that everything feels like it's got a similar weight to it and a balance to it as well.
I like these. I mean, I think they're clean, straightforward, easily thrown on whatever board we need it for or position. Sean, can you scroll down? The last thing we see is planning and zoning and communications. What's below that?
Well, I was letting these kind of set in, see if you had anything about
Oh,
these, and
okay.
I was going to move down to the
No,
next
I think
one.
we're good here.
Okay. So then Austin brought up the possibility of having some variations for police and public works. And um, public works is one, both police and public works have more of a community facing identity. So, much like Parks and Rec, we will often treat public works a little differently than we treat some of the other departments. Just because they might have vehicles that are out on the road and they're dealing, more with the public, that we will kind of upgrade it a little bit, or just, try to give it a little bit more personality. And so I wanted to show how like Public Works could look potentially with a gear. I think it works well to just show the machinations of what Public Works does for the community. But Austin also wanted to see a version for the police and showing that with either the icon or the seal.
And we currently don't have either police or public works, but these are just for down the road. Should we ever have our own police force? Should we ever have a public works department? We have these in our
I
packet.
like, and to Kim's point, I like to do this while we're all together.
Yeah,
And not piecemeal it down the road.
yeah. Better to have it and not need it than
Agreed.
need it and not have it.
That's-
Okay, so obviously we have the current village seal on our sheriff's deputy's truck. We would obviously change it to the actual seal, the new seal, once we are totally done with it. Do we want to have, I mean, obviously we have Village of Marvin that runs on the bottom of it. Do we want to put wordage, obviously not police, because it's not police, it's, I don't know if we're allowed to.
I don't think we are. I think
Okay, so
the
just the
county
seal.
decides what
Okay,
goes on there.
well, because I was gonna say, could you do it with sheriff instead of police? But if you,
I would, we can definitely ask, but most likely what they're going to do is if we say
Just
we're
the
changing it, they're
seal
going to swap out the seal.
okay, that's fine. Okay, I actually like the gear. I was kind of like, let's just keep it the same, but it makes sense. But I think have both again in our back pocket.
Okay. And I just realized too, as I was working through all this, that there was one other one. Let me see. I think I have it open in Illustrator that I was working on. Um, hold on one second. Let me find that real quick because I've worked on another logo that I realized I did not drop in there. and it was the town hall meetings that Austin had mentioned again on Friday about, sort of an open forum initiative, a Q&A to be done like once a month or something, like on Monday, something like that was in his note. And so this was kind of taking a combination of the seal and the popular, more the visitor oriented design and putting the village hall inside of the that other frame. But this was one I need to drop in there as well. Any thoughts?
See, the other thing.
It's the VM monogram. So yeah, that's an event we're doing tonight, Shine an Open Forum Town Hall meeting. We normally just there's other town hall meetings that we do that we just call town hall meetings, which are more formal presentations. So it's good to have a variation of one with town hall meeting and with open forum town.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I like the blue and I like the seal with it. I like that.
It's very clean.
Yeah, that's
Kim,
good.
do you mind if we go back?
No, go back. Yeah. Can you go back one
Sean,
slot
can you
there?
go back to the
That one?
police and public
There.
works? Just as an opinion, the seal, I'd like to see it consistent with the other seals and do away with the gearboxes because a lot of people won't know what that is. And I think it'd be cleaner without the gearbox. I don't know how other people feel in the committee, but that's my opinion.
I was thinking about my first thought.
Yeah.
I agree overall. Just wonder would it look cheesy if you threw the seal into the O on some of the options? Just to tuck it in.
Mhm.
So
You're creative, fellow, aren't you?
See, my
just
first,
like options.
my first gut was, I don't like the gear. But then as I heard you explain, I was like, oh, I kind of like the gear. So I think if we can, I mean, again, like if we have more than we need,
Mm-hmm.
then, and we don't have either one of these departments right now. So if and when we do, at that point, we can bring it back and be like, hey, guys, which one do you guys want to use?
Yeah.
And then at least we have both options.
Let me ask this question. So, we have a separate logo for Parks and Rec, just because it's a very specific function. Should Public Works, for example, have its own logo in the same way Parks and Rec does? It's not so aligned with the tree and the seal.
I don't understand your question. But what do you mean public Parks and Rec has a difference?
So the Parks and Rec has their own logo, the couple and child walking through the trees.
But that's like the park. Because if you go back,
Yeah, that's Parks and Rec.
Sean, go up on this page. Keep going. There.
Parks, Recreation, Greenway Board.
But to your point, there's another one.
I'm talking about the departmental logo. Right there, Marvin Parks and Rec. So I was
So we
saying,
don't have a departmental logo on that box. Okay, Sean, I'm sorry. Go back down. We don't have one here.
Because
Just the board. We don't have like where it says planning and zoning. We don't have parks.
they have their own logo up there, that's why.
Okay.
So I was asking, would we want Public Works to have their own logo just because they'd be doing a very specific function the same way Parks and Rec does?
Well, I mean, police would too then. So with solid waste and recycling, I mean, everybody has something different. So I don't know that,
Draw for a certain logo to encompass all the.
yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna go down a rabbit hole. I mean, finance would have a dollar sign.
Fair enough. Just a question.
No, it's a good one.
And that was the thought process that kind of led me to, modify the existing seal with the gear so that it does show, again, a little bit of the machinations, they are sort of that front facing, they're the people out doing the work, on the streets and in the community. As far as that goes. So, gear often does represent public works and just showing what that could look like in there. But I also see the perspective that that might not register with a lot of people, why there's, that it is a gear or what it necessarily represents. So do we need to look at anything else, or are we ready to move on?
Move on.
Okay. So we get into some collateral here, just showing some of these you've seen, some are additions where we've got letterhead, business card, putting the monogram on a golf ball. We've got a nice hydro flask here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so we can see. One of the other interesting requests was for an access pass for like photographers that want to use the park, shoot weddings, do things like that, so that we can make sure that we're managing how the park is being used and that we're coordinating with, people that are using it for business, that they have gone through the proper channels to utilize it for that. And just something easily to hang over their mirror whenever they park.
And the new business cards are up there too.
Okay, I hate the shirts.
What do you hate about them?
I just don't like that that's the logo that's the one picture that we picked to put on the shirt. I don't know, I just don't like it. I think it looks like you're a camp counselor.
I agree. I'm just curious. I want to hear your definition of, is it the tree?
It's,
the whole thing?
it's the tree, I mean, yeah, it's the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I feel, I just,
Well, let's say, I'm gonna answer your question. Let's say I go to a conference, right? Couple a year, and I'm walking around with that. Do they know where I'm from?
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Why
they
did it say Village of Marvin?
could.
Yeah, I can't tell if it does.
It does not. It does not.
It does.
Then it needs to be the other logo. It needs to have all that on there.
It should have, it should be the logo, should be logo with,
It either
logo
needs,
with Village of Marvin in it,
Well,
I think, in some
it
way.
either needs to be the VM or it needs to be, and then somebody be like, oh, where are you from? Village of Marvin. Or it needs to be the logo, like the seal.
but okay, back to Austin's point, these are all options, right?
Yeah.
And we decide, I mean, if you want us to stand out when we're wearing that, whoever it be, it's gotta, it's gotta have an M, a VM, a
So,
Village of Marvin.
so these aren't these
Professional
aren't,
Access Pass has got Village of Marvin on it, and I would think that would be as well on the shirts.
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
just keep in mind, these are not actual shirts. This is just this is a mock of what a future shirt
No, I
would
know.
look like.
I'm just saying, I don't like
That's not
this.
your actual business.
What I mean is, whenever we go to order a shirt from anywhere, we're going to have to give them a logo. So we can give them whichever logo we want to give them from our toolkit.
Okay, well, I would like to see the shirts with multiple options of logos because otherwise I'm never going to be able to picture what it looks like.
Okay. I'll add the monogram and I will add the text version to it as well. So we'll have the options there. So it's easier. Whoops. But yeah, that's an easy fix. Not a problem at all.
Will you do one with the seal as well?
Sure. Yeah.
That's easy. I mean, that seems like an obvious choice because I think that's what one of them's wearing right this minute. That's what Derek's got on right now, the old seal.
Absolutely.
Well, the seal. Yeah.
Right, so we move into community signage. And so this is kind of unique to Marvin in like adding this page to the style guide. Usually this is a wayfinding page, but since you all have a lot of unique signage in your community, I kind of broke these out separate from wayfinding, so that we can see, what some banners could look like.
Hey,
Again,
Sean,
yes.
can you zoom in a little bit? It's hard to see the text.
Thank you.
Yes. And so, you know, just showing a couple of examples of what the banners could look like, and I'll redo the Marvin Day version uh, now that I think we're going to move back toward the original, but with the updated text. Again, showing what the Greenway sign could look like, and that Greenway logo is in the system so that if these panels are to be replaced, you know, you just have to provide your vendor with the size and scale of that, and they can easily, you know, make those revisions there. And then showing the community signs and the rendering with it. Oh, I need to make a note and update the I updated that rendering, but I did not drop it into the report because that's the old version of that photo. So update blade sign. Sorry about that. And then the Heritage District sign as well as the Marvin Eford Park sign update. Anything in here we need to look at? I think most all of this is familiar with you all.
Does the current Marvin Eford Park sign have Marvin so small? Does it?
Do you happen to know if the current Marvin Eford Park sign, the word Marvin is so little?
I could find out real quick.
I don't think I have a picture of it.
It's the same. I'm looking at the original sign that we have on the fence now. It's sorry. It's the same size, but a different font.
Yeah. And the reason why I'll say just from a design perspective, I did reduce Marvin smaller in that was because in my like hearing about it and having discussions about it, most people called it Eford Park. And so to me, like visually to kind of create that the Eford Park, you know, putting Marvin is there as the modifier. Yeah,
Sean.
that was just my take.
Sean,
Yes.
Sean, nobody really calls it Eford Park. It's either Marvin Park or Marvin Eford Park. So the new
Oh, really?
logo that you guys have, the Marvin needs to be bigger and
Okay.
stand out.
And one of the reasons is because we're not sure it's Efred or Eferd. So it's Eferd, I know that, but I think people do call it Efred. So they get the R and the I dyslexically confused. So Marvin's bigger is better.
Okay. And that's easy fix as well.
But the sign looks good. The new one looks good with the new logo on it. The new, what do you call that? No, but yeah. That'll look nice. Yeah, that looks really good. And certified wildlife habitat makes me happy, so that's even better.
Yeah, I felt that was important to include sort of out there at the street.
We'd like to believe so.
I mean, it's on this one as well, but just wanted to make sure it was, you know, large and noticeable for everybody.
Yeah, with that gold bar at the bottom, it really pops out more, isn't much more noticeable.
Sean, could you scroll back up to the banners? I was just wanting to see the font again for Enriched by Nature to make our community so that, make sure it's readable by people that go by. I think it is. Okay, thank you.
They should be slowed down.
Exactly.
They're not.
So here's the blank slide waiting for the wayfinding design, which after Thursday is going to be my next project to work on, is putting together some design options for you all to review and consider in advance of our next meeting. And then we get into some advertising. And so far, this is another thing I want to build out a little bit more with volunteer days and some of the other events and all. But just showing what, a simple social media post or, a simple ad. I want to definitely update this a little bit, put the website on there, just playing around with some layout it, currently to just keep it really focused on the graphics. You all provided me some really nice photos from a couple of the events showing people and activity in the parks and mulling around, and that's always great because whenever we're there, for our short period on the ground, we're not always able to witness that ourselves and document it. So I do appreciate that.
I really like the circle where the photograph is in the circle and then the logo, it brings the circle back from the logo. I like the way that looks, even if we don't like the owl hawk, chicken hawk thing. Yeah. I just like that layout.
You're making me want to bring Foghorn Leghorn into this design
You
somehow.
know you're going to do a version like that. You don't have to show us, but you know you're going to do it.
Oh, if you only knew how many things I do that the client never sees, just so I can get it out of my head.
Of course, I understand completely.
And so then we get into implementation. And this is, a lot of this is fairly boilerplate. They're just strategies that we provide to all the communities as a bit of a checklist and some to-do items, a lot of low-hanging fruit for you all to consider as you start moving into like launching this brand and implementing it. And, every community is different from capacity to implement and what their focus is going to be and sort of how they lay out their priorities with rolling out their brand strategy. But these are just some checklists and some to-do items that we've put together to make sure that, there might be some things on here you hadn't thought of or that might kind of help remind you of different ways to approach this from, just downloading and installing a lot of the files and the fonts and getting everything ready so that whenever you do need it, bookmarking the Dropbox link so you know where to go when the time is you need it. But also updating social media, updating your email signatures, looking at your print goods from the partner cards and hour signs, if you've got, the village hall, different things like that. And then looking at event extensions for for the logo adoption and signage and, for temporary signs whenever there are cleanup efforts, let people know what's happening, temporary parking signs for events. There's just a lot of stuff in here to just look over, kind of, again, just to refresh your memory about where all of this brand can and may end up living, and making sure that everything's being followed through and updated and consistent. So that's one page. And then we move into how to be a brand partner. And, this one, again, the Village of Marvin is unique. You don't have a lot of retail partners in your community. You do have some clusters out at the public shopping center. And, you do, I'm sure you have a lot of businesses inside of Marvin that are more like business out of the home and such. But you may know some of them that, they want to show their community pride so they can put the village logo on their website or on their social media, letting people know that they are part of this community. They're not, a lot of people might be trying to piggyback on the popularity or population of Charlotte and making themselves feel a little bigger than they may be to try to put that business face forward. But you might have a lot of other businesses in the area and people that want to share in this community pride effort. And so here are just some other examples of ways to share in that, whether you talk to some of the local retailers into putting, giving them shopping bags or t-shirts and different things. And these are other renderings that if you want to see some of these that you might feel would help promote to some of your businesses or residents. Let me know if there's something in here, if you want to see it on a koozie or you want to see it on a shopping bag. Those are easy enough things for me to put a rendering together that I'd be happy to include that as well. But there's a lot to, just kind of review and look through here. We don't have to go over all of the bullet points, but just wanted to share it with you as we continue through. And then the brand score, this page is a little bit of a worksheet. It's just kind of like a little bit of a scorecard or a report card for like, you can look at it today of what are we doing right today and what's our tally at the end of the day today. And then in 6 months or a year, looking back at something like this and what kind of improvements have been made. It's just a fun little worksheet sometimes. I know with all of your free time, this is something you don't have anything else to do. This is easy enough, but no, it's just something to consider and something to look at again, just to remind you of some of the things that might not have been done yet, and a reminder to check off some of these boxes as you continue to move forward. And then this main five is an initiative Ben Muldrow came up with, one of the partners at the company. He's been really working on this, and he actually has a whole workbook that he's been working on putting together to provide to communities. But this is kind of a distillation of all that down into like another checklist. But it's looking at like what are the initiatives we're wanting to do, what is our target audience, how often are we wanting to do this initiative, and who is going to be tasked with following through. And so whenever you look at doing some of these, like the website updates, blog posts, the social media updates, the council updates, we've got a lot of different things here that kind of broken up. But whose job is that? How often are we doing it? And what is our audience so that we make sure that we're targeting that message appropriately, whether it's the language or whether it's the media that we're utilizing. So it's
Sean,
just
I think this is all really good information, but this is going to be more internal, like with staff. So
absolutely.
yeah, we can, just
Okay.
Austin's got that. Just,
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I can take care of it, yeah.
All right. And then again with the event calendar, just a way of putting things down on paper to kind of see it and get your head around it. And so getting into the resource guide here, this page is basically a quick short overview of the 5 different file formats that we provide all of the logo files in and what their general purpose is and their functionality is. What we typically recommend is providing the link to your vendor, whether you're getting a t-shirt printed or whether you're getting your website updated. You can send them a link and then reference the file, the logo version that you want, and they will pick out which file format works best for their workflow. So you all don't have to worry about educating yourself so much and trying to become a graphic designer, because you're
Hey,
not going to need
Sean.
this information a lot. Yes.
Again, I think that'll be more internal, but
Okay.
point taken.
do you
So
have
then
any, do you have any other logos that we need to thumbs up, thumbs down? Or are we pretty good?
that was all of the logos that's been done. So no,
Okay,
that would
perfect.
be
So you're gonna make those changes and then present to council on Thursday?
yes.
Awesome. And then this group will then start working on the wayfinding in February?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Okay, so process-wise, is everyone good with what they've seen? Everyone feel like you'll be able to give your feedback, and Sean's gonna take care of it? So what we'll do is, I'm gonna ask you all to approve this as amended, council will review on Thursday. They'll make suggestions for revisions. You guys will see it at your next meeting, just to have your eyes on, to see what's been changed. And then you guys will move into wayfinding. And then council will approve this most likely on their February 7th consent agenda. And then we'll be fully into wayfinding and be done with the branding portion. Anyone have any questions about anything?
No, it's been great. Sean, you guys have done a really good job. I know we've been kind of a pain in the patootie, but You guys have done a
honestly,
really good job.
no, you all have been an absolute pleasure to work with. You are very concise. You
Liar.
discuss things.
Lies, all lies.
No, I promise you. I've even told Austin that Aaron and I have had numerous conversations. We would love to clone you as a committee and transplant you to many of our other communities where you keep yourselves from devolving on minutia. You're just like, yeah, it's fine, let's move forward, or we really like this. Like you're very decisive amongst yourselves, and no, you've been wonderful. So thank you so much.
Trust me, he's not exaggerating. He's told me some horror stories.
Hope you're not jinxing the wayfinding portion of this, right? Yeah.
No,
We'll try to
this
remain true to ourselves.
the wayfinding is much more objective than the branding is subjective. We run into way more issue with branding because it's so much more subjective. And, people tend to be more opinionated about design than what we're going to be doing with wayfinding. I mean, the design of the wayfinding signs there will be a lot of subjectivity in there, but at the end of the day, it's very objective. We have guidelines we have to follow from the MUTCD. So as long as we're within those, we've got a lot of wiggle room we can play around with design. But no, that's going to be uh, easier than this, and this has been very easy to work through all of this. So no, I thank you all. That's why I'm like any little tweaks and modifications you want, I'm more than happy because you all have been so easy to work with up to this point. I'm more than happy to continue to make those modifications and additions.
All right, so if I can I get someone to make a motion to recommend approval of the branding style guide as amended?
I will make a motion.
Will. Further discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Unanimous. All right. So if we're good, I think we're going to action item. Sean's got his marching orders. Board member comments. Any comments to share? Bob? Christine? Will? Ken? All right, well, I'll make a comment. You asked me. Anyway, I'll make a comment. Thank you all for your contributions thus far. We've still got a ways to go in the project, but I think it's been great, and I'm glad that you're all on this committee. I think you've all done a great job. So
Clearly, we are awesome. Yes.
yes, you're awesome. Okay, lastly, I need a motion to adjourn at 12 p.m. Christina. Further discussion. All's in favor? Unanimous. Thanks, everyone.
Just in time.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Sean. Let me
Thank
know
you, Sean.
if you need any input from me, all right?
Will do. I will send you a link to this over, Austin, and you can share it or print it, do whatever you might need. That way you've just got the draft of this in hand. And just, yeah, let me know anything else that comes up that you all think of before Thursday. I have another big council presentation I'm prepping for on Thursday as well. But I'll do my best to get everything done for everybody.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sean.
All right. Take care.